What's up? What's going on, familia? Let's set this up real quick. Set this up. Hold on. I don't know why it's not set up properly. I gotta get a better setup here. Hold on. Uno momento. Ooh, look at that. Clean. Got him. What's going on, familia? How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a fantastic, fantabulous, amazing day. An amazing day today. It's looks like it's about to rain once again. I mean, hopefully not gonna be too crazy. We'll see how it goes. Hope everybody's having a fantabulous. Hopping on real quick. Just wanted to share a few words, maybe a few words of encouragement, and also actually something really important. I want to talk about something. Let's talk about it. Right? So once again, guys, if you guys aren't informed, I am working on a series, Fruits of the Spirit. Okay, Fruit of the Spirit series. All right, and I want to touch on each fruit of the Spirit one by one. We're going to go into it. So today's spirit we're going to talk about is joy. All right, fruit of the Spirit for today is going to be joy. Starting at the intro of this video, I was gonna make my intro like a little dancing, kind of like just praise dancing going in, but then I was like, I ain't got the kind of energy right now for it. I ain't got that kind of energy, so I was like, nah, you know, I think they'll get the picture, of joy, with the message itself, but yeah, the message is gonna be on joy. All right, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. All right. So let's see what we got. So when we think about joy, all right, what's the definition? What do we consider like the definition of joy is? Like, what do we think? What's joy to us? What do we consider joy? What's joy? The definition of joy. What do we call joy? Like, what is joy? What is that? When we think about joy, what is that? Like, what is it? For everybody who's coming in, we're talking about joy. We're talking about the fruit of the spirits, and we're talking about joy. We're talking about joy. I want to get to the bottom line of joy. We're going to talk about it. So what do we like? What's the definition? What do we think joy is? Give everybody, give y'all a few seconds, just kind of like think about it. Like, what is joy? Give us a second to just think about it. Think about it. All right, let's get into it now. I want to give it a little second for everyone just kind of ponder on it. All right, so basically, joy, right? Joy is basically considered an extraordinary content place from within. All right. No matter circumstance, no matter where you might be in life, you'll always find it from within to be not just happy, but satisfied. All right. A lot of people, they are they kind of they kind of roam this world, and they are not satisfied where they are. You can even go as far as saying there are more people who are happy That's why it's easier for for all of us to really say it's easier for people to find happiness but not find joy. You can be happy. Matter of fact, that's what I wanted to. That's the part that I want to get into. All right, so it's basically comparing happiness and joy, right? Let's talk about comparing happiness and joy first, right? So comparing happiness and joy. Happiness is more derived from an exterior um, situation, right? It's more exterior based, external. What things can you do externally? What things can you get to make yourself happy, right? And then how about with joy? Joy is um, an interior. It's more interior based, right? Um, Once again, happiness we find exterior. The things that we do, the things that we can buy, um, you know, materialistic things, right? And then joy is kind of the opposite of that. It's more internal. You got to find joy from within. You can't find joy externally. You can, but joy is more so produced internally. Why do you think that there are so many wealthy people in this world, right? Why do you think there's so many wealthy people in this world, but they're not entirely satisfied? Why? Because they don't have, uh, they haven't found it within themselves, the true level of joy that's necessary. We can sit here and buy and get all these things externally, all that we want. But if you're not actually happy from within, then that's not true, like, satisfaction. True satisfaction comes from joy, not necessarily happiness. Happiness, you can get it from the outside source, from the outside world for, a short period of time. And then after a short period of time, you're no longer satisfied. That satisfaction, it dies away pretty quickly. Where joy is kind of like you train yourself up to be happy in any circumstance, to be satisfied through any circumstance. You can be facing the worst storm in your life, and if you don't have true joy within you, produced within you, you're gonna find it harder for you to navigate through your troubling time, your most troubling times. Taking it back to the example that I gave before, with the wealthiest of people in the world, right? Why do you think, once again, the wealthiest people in the world, you have all the money in the world, right? But why do you still hear stories of a lot of those wealthy people taking their own lives, right? See, it's examples like that where people should primarily look at that money really can't buy you everything. It can't buy you true joy. It can't buy you true happiness. It's momentarily. It's for the moment. It's like I don't really want to use the word, but it's like a high. You get it for a moment and it goes away, right? It's for the moment. It doesn't stick around very long. And guess what? Once it goes away, you sober right on up with it. All right, we're talking about joy today, guys. I got a lot of people probably. See, speaking of joy, I got some people arguing in the back right now. They got to find some joy in their life, right? But hey, it happens. So, yeah, we got some arguers in the back. Just don't come with my car, please. I'll shed some joy on it. Please don't attack my. All right. So, yeah. So taking it back to the example, how I what I gave you with the people who are not entirely satisfied. Like, okay, people who are, I don't know, who are not so wealthy, the middle class, right? Um, People who are wealthy, they kind of paint a picture I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background, but we're gonna ignore that for the rest of the video. People people who are wealthy, right? They paint a picture like they got it all. They got it all. They got everything handed to them. They're happy. You know that like basically like that's the peak of life, you know, of living. You know, and behind closed doors, they're going through a lot too. They're miserable, living their lives miserable, right? And the middle class or people who don't have it like that, you know, we look at their circumstance situation as if they do have it, you know, and honestly, that's not the case. That's not the case at all. It's like social media. A lot of people that, you know, you'll see a lot of people that, you know, they post certain things to make it seem like they have it all together, and not everybody has everything all together. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Once again, it's not an exterior based thing. Yes, having money can make life easier for you. Not saying that it can't make life easier for you. It definitely can. But as far as finding that internal satisfaction, that true internal satisfaction, you can't find it in just money and riches and in wealth. It's not that simple. You know, there's a picture that they're painting that they a lot of people don't want you to know or don't want you to see. So and you kind of and with that being said, you can kind of question and ask, okay, so if you can't even get joy and and money and the richness of life, then where can you get joy from, right? You'll probably ask yourself that question, and the answer is pretty simple. It's by the one and only, the man above. Right? God himself. God himself. We honestly, there's if you think about it, and I'm sure if I'll give you a second even to even think about it, right? I'll give you a second to try to ponder and think. Okay, think about right now, what in this world, and mind you, we just got done talking about you know, money and being rich and wealth and all that, so we can't even use that example anymore, right? So aside from that, I want you to think about the one thing or a few things that can bring you joy. Okay, I'm gonna put two things aside from money and aside from God, right? Aside from money and aside from God, think of a few things that will bring you joy. I'll give you a second to think about it. Besides money and besides God, what are a few things that can bring that you feel like and you think would bring you joy? Not happiness. Once again, happiness is more external. Joy is longer. It's like an internal satisfaction. Think about a few things that bring you actual joy. I'll be real with you. I just try to think about it myself, and I can't think of much. I don't know if you thought about it like a whole. You had like a whole list full, but my list was near none. I I can't think of many things actually other than God Himself that would bring me joy. Um, I mean, we can go as far as maybe, well, the other thing that just had, you know, just came in my mind. Um, and the only other thing is, like, I would say, like, your spouse. That's the only physical thing other than God Himself that could bring you joy. That would bring you joy. Now, I mean, that's a little slim part because not everybody's relationship is the same. You know what I'm trying to say? Not everybody's relationship is the same. You know, some relationships are harder than others. You know, so that's why I can't. That's why I didn't want to really stretch. You know, bring that part up and stretch on that too much. But um, yeah, there's not many things we can think of that actually bring you true fulfillment and true joy in this world. It's not that many things you can think about, to be real, to be honest. You know, because like I said, money can't do it. Money can't actually do it. Money brings you happiness, not joy. There's a difference. It's external. Whatever you can do externally to bring to you, that doesn't count as joy, because it's not long lasting. Just like, once again, like I said, with all the people who are rich, who ends up taking their life. Why do you think they take their life? If they if if these people who took their lives, who were the wealthiest of people, if they had joy, they wouldn't have took their life. Because true joy, if you have true joy, that's one of the things that wouldn't cross your mind, is taking your own life. So once again, having all the money in the world does not bring you true joy. It can bring you momentarily happiness, but not true joy. All right. So I mean, I don't, yeah, like, there's not. I mean, if you guys, I don't know if you guys took your time to think about, like, really think about what things in life can actually bring you joy. There's not a lot of things that I can think about, other than, and well, let me say this as well, because the other thing that I told you that I thought about was, like, a spouse, right? Your spouse can bring you joy, true joy, right? Not just happiness, but joy. And guess what? Your spouse comes from who? Well, the spouse you're supposed to have, that God wants you to have, right, comes from who? God. The spouse that He wants you to have, uh, comes from Him. So once again, it still ties back to Him anyways, because He's the one that gives you this spouse. So once again, it's still the same thing, where it's God who brings you true joy. There's nothing in this world, like, you can't find nothing in this world, unless you have, like, a sweet tooth, and you're, like, sitting there eating, like, like a piece of cake or cookie or something that's, like, really good to you, and you're like, yeah, yeah, this is bringing me joy. Yeah, yum 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 yum. Like, I mean, I don't know if you really want to consider that joy, in the moment, but that's still considered happiness in a sense, because it's momentarily. It's not true joy. It's like for a moment, you know. Um, there's not many things we can all think about. If you guys can think about anything that brings you joy, in this world, leave it in the comment section, and I'll read them, and I'll check it out later, because I want to see what people say. Like, what I really want to see what people come up with. What things can you think about that will bring you joy? Now remember, joy and happiness are two different things. Joy is what brings you internal fulfillment. Happiness is what you can acquire externally, that'll bring you happiness. These are two different things. All right, joy is more long term, and happiness is more short term. Okay. Um, you know, there are many people in the Bible. Actually, there are some stories. There are a few people in the Bible, who, this can be a really solid example with, right? Um, take David, for example. David. Now, we all know the story of David, how he was, um, I mean, David went through it, right? He went through it, captured by his brothers, tossed, um, in a cavern and basically, there are lions in there as well. And obviously he was scared. Who else? Who wouldn't be scared? But one thing that we all know about David too is that he had a heart for God, right? He was always content. He wasn't, I mean, from what we know, he wasn't like the nagging type. He didn't nag and things like that. So he had a level of joy within him. You know, he was content from within, right? And God reads. People are just not full of joy today. Yeah, see, this world needs it. Like everywhere you look, someone's arguing, someone's honking. Like that's how you know there's a level of joy that's lacking. Um, so once again with David, sorry, I said David, Daniel. Um, so basically, um, he had a level of, joy, where he was content and God sought his heart out. God protects, he protects those that have joy, basically. All right. He protects those who, yeah, so I always get those two like swapped around, David and Daniel. So he basically, you know, uh, there's so much distractions out here. I think the devil definitely does not want me to get this message out. I think he wants the level, he doesn't want joy to be passed around in the world. The message of joy to be passed out in the world. Um, you know, you look at um, who's another one? Trying to find another one. Trying to think of someone else. Um, with joy. I can't pinpoint right now, but we just understand that God, he basically he let me just say this. God, he does like it when we have joy within our hearts, within ourselves, right? And what does us having joy mean? What does it look like? Once again, it means that no matter what circumstances you're going through, no matter what circumstances you're facing, it means you have a backbone. It actually helps you get through that situation. That you're not gonna nag God. You're not gonna. It's a source of building your hope and your faith within God. That's like uh, a fine print, I can't even say the word, an indication that you have your trust and faith and belief in God. When you're able to hope and have joy, joy simply means that, once again, you have trained yourself up to the point where no matter how uncomfortable things can happen to you in life, that you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay with it. You're gonna be okay with the outcome. You are currently okay in the you're okay from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. Right? When people think about joy, they only think about the praising aspect of joy. When it goes beyond that. Yes, joy, it's all about praising, being happy, and being on the happy positive side, but people don't think about joy on the downside. You gotta think about joy on the downside too, when life isn't so good, when life is rough. That's when joy helps us the most, actually. Because if we have that level of joy, once again, we're able to get through things way smoother. When you see people like in road rage, you know, um, you see them in road rage on the road, cursing people out. You really think that's joy? That means they lack joy. That means they're not satisfied with themselves, with life. Like there's a lot that's missing in that puzzle. But when you are able to acquire joy, it's a beautiful thing. No matter what your finances looking like, no matter what your status is looking like, You don't look at, oh, how wealthy I am to be like, oh yeah, now I've reached joy. No, you can reach joy at any level, any given time of life. So don't let people put it in your head that you have to reach this level of finances or this level of status just to find joy, because that's not how it works. God never said that's how it works. In God's kingdom, that's not how it works. And his kingdom is literally the only kingdom, since the beginning of time. It's only the world's after the corruption of the world. They try to like create their own formalities of things, like their own understanding of things, to make it seem like God's way might just be like the old way or something, and that's not the case. God's way was always supposed to be the only way. It's just fast forward into the world today, people have found it to be like, to kind of like go their own separate ways in creating their own ways. And if you're not careful, you go too far in your own way, aside from God's way, you can lead to a ditch if you travel too far away from God. Just a little food for thought. All right. Once again, there are a couple of people in the Bible who they had, a level of joy, and they were content where they were. That's why God, one of the reasons why God picked some individuals in the Bible to carry out their missions for him. Right? So once again, don't forget, joy is not just the praising and the positive aspect of it. You got to think of joy from both sides of the coin. When life is good for you and you're happy, but also when life is rough and tough, that joy will help you to get through those times as well. All right. So I actually got my few verses that I want to go over talking about joy. I'm gonna go over my few verses real quick, which is all right. Let's go over them. A few verses. We got Romans 15 verse 13. Romans 15 verse 13. And this says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him." This illustrates that God is a source of overflowing joy. Right? Let's go over another one. I got a James 1, 2 through 3. And this says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds." See, remember how I was telling you about that part? When times are rough? "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds." This encourages believers to see challenges as an opportunity for growth. Right. All right. Let's get into the next one. I got another one. Psalm 16 verse 11. Psalm 16 verse 11. What does it say? "You make known to me the path of my life. In your presence there is fullness of joy." This shows that even in difficult times, a believer can find joy in God's presence. You see, there's another one that speaks about it. That joy can be found not just in the best and good times, but in the down times or times where it's rough and tough. Right? I got another verse for you. I got Isaiah 61 verse 10. Talking about joy. Isaiah 61 verse 10. And this says, "He has clothed me with garments of salvation, and on me placed the robe of righteousness. For he has dressed me in the garments of salvation, and clothed me in a robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom adorns himself with a beautiful headdress, and as a bride beautifies herself with her jewels. For he has covered me with the spirit of joy. This highlights the transformative power of God's salvation and righteousness. Yo, yo, yo. What it do, family? What it do? All right. This just goes into detail as to how God works. Right? I got another verse. I got another verse for you. Let's talk about it. I got a Habakkuk chapter 3. Yo, what's good? What's good, Sigma? Habakkuk 3, verse 18. It's a Habakkuk 3, verse 18, right? And this says, "Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation." So this is just a verse where it's basically us making a declaration and planting our feet firmly on the ground, saying, this is what we're going to stand for. This is what you're going to find your joy. Like, you're making a declaration that you're going to find your joy in God, right? That no matter what, you're going to find your joy in God. Yeah, and that's what it is. Sometimes we got to make that declaration. You got to declare it. You got to put your foot down. Be like, hey, listen, this is what it is. You ain't going to let nobody or nothing come and shake you from, you know, your coming in between you and God, the joy that he'll bring you. And you got to be firm about it. Because guess what? The devil is going to come and try to tempt you. He's going to try to send things your way to shake you up. And that's when you got to be like, nah. All right. I got one more here. I got one more verse for joy. And this is in Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. And this says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." The joy of the Lord is your strength. This is like one of those important verses you want to keep in mind. Keep in mind and keep around you on your lowest of moments. You know, in your lowest of moments, when you're going through it, when you feel weak, when you need a little bit of strength and encouragement, you keep Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10 in front of you, that the joy of the Lord is your strength. And you'll start feeling that backup of strength coming in. All right. So once again, guys, I want to keep this one short. So once again, guys, when you get a chance, what I want you to do, put in the comment section, what are a few things that you feel like brings you joy? I want you to type it out, in a few, try to list out a few things. What are a few things that you feel like brings you joy? I ain't talking about happiness. Once again, happiness and joy is two different things. Happiness is more external based. Like, what can you buy? What can you get? More materialistic to actually make you happy. What things can you bring to you externally to make you happy? I ain't talking about happiness. I'm talking about joy. What can you do to bring you joy, increase your joy level within you? What brings you joy? Place that in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me see what you guys come up with. All right. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna leave it at that. Guys. Keeping it short. Keeping it short. And I really do hope that you guys are having a great day. And just keep God in front of you, no matter what you're going through. All right. facing troubling times, like a lot of us are. I know we're in some crazy times right now. I know it's hard. It's really hard to even find joy in times like these. But that's why it's so important that we keep God in front of us. All right. Well, once again, with that being said, guys, I love you guys. Much love. I want to keep this one short. And just no matter what. All right. No matter what you're going through, keep reaching, keep moving forward. All right, you guys. Much love. Love you. If you haven't already, check out. Well, I'm just starting once again. I'm starting a series, Fruit of the Spirit. This one's on joy. Check out my preview. A few more coming. I'll catch you guys next week, same time. Next Wednesday around 11, 12 o'clock. I want to say 11. And yeah, smash that like button, so we can get this on the algorithm, so people can get to see it, because we got some joy to spread. We got some joy. I'm not going to do it right now. All right, you guys. Holla at your boy. Much love. Catch you on the flip. Peace out.